back again. Track 3 of the Michael Spencer Sports Show. What is up? Thank you for tuning in. I got to stop saying that. Trav got mad at me for saying that the other day. He was like, I got beef with you. I was like, what? He goes, you're not Jim Rome. Stop trying to be like Jim Rome. I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, every time you come back. I was like, no, I changed it up a little bit. He was like, well, I still notice. I was like, all right. So that one just flew out like naturally. I wasn't even planning on that. I was
just emulating your hero.
I was trying not to, actually. I got to come up with something. We'll see. We'll see. All right. Well, let's see. We talked about pretty much everything. Well, everything that's important right now. College football and the NFL. And in case you didn't know, in case you got lost in the hype, there's still baseball going on, at least until November. And the big news right now, the big thing that's on everybody's mind, besides steroids and Pete Rose, which we'll touch on in just a little bit, is Derek Jeter inching closer to breaking the Yankees' all-time hits leader. What do you think of Derek Jeter? Everyone says that he's been said to be the most overrated player in baseball. I don't buy it. Derek Jeter's a freaking stud.
No, I agree. I think it's a shame because consistently in all the SI player polls, he's top 5 most overrated players. It's just such a shame because he's such a solid contributor, a great team leader. I've never heard one bad thing about him. I mean, sometimes he hits below 300, but for the most part, you know what you're going to get with him day in and day out. And I just think that he's a great leader. I'd love to have him.
And that's the thing I love about Derek Jeter. You never hear anything bad about him.
No, he takes it in stride.
And you never hear how fat his contract is and how he's not making his money. And you never hear the guys in his clubhouse saying anything bad about him. You never hear any former players and former teammates say anything bad about him.
Only person I can think of that has said anything semi-negative about Derek Jeter was Gary Sheffield when referring to black players in baseball and said Derek Jeter's not really black.
Yeah, and I mean, and Gary Sheffield's an idiot.
Yeah, so he's
first of all,
and I think when that's the only bad mark you have against you as a player, and you stay in New York for your whole career, that's impressive.
The guy's a baller, and he's one of those guys where a lot of people hate the Yankees, and rightfully so, I myself included.
Yes,
but nobody really hates Derek Jeter.
No.
You hate the Yankees are one of those organizations.
You want to hate him and you want to say you hate him, but if
can't.
If you really think about it, you have no justification for doing so.
And the Yankees are one of those organizations where you hate them, but you can't hate their players. They're just so good.
For the most part. I mean, there's some players you can hate just because maybe the contract they get, but like you say, nobody really knows what Jeter makes just because no one questions whether he earns it. Right. It's not A-Rod where is he worth this $100 million?
Exactly. And it's not even Teixeira level. To where you know what Teixeira's getting, and Teixeira's been performing. He's
deserved it so far.
He took his time, but he finally, bucked up and he's doing well. And Sabathia the same way, and Jabba. But Derek Jeter, you just never hear anything about him, and I like that. I like that about Derek Jeter, and that's one of the reasons I like him so much. Now we mentioned A-Rod and the whole steroid scandal. What's worse to you, steroids or gambling?
Well, it depends because I used to really be on the Pete Rose bandwagon for that he should have been put in the Hall of Fame. But the more I read and the more I heard, I just think he should not. I mean, he bet on games as a manager. And when you're a manager, you can not only mess up your own lineup, you know the ins and outs of other ones. I just call that unfair to everybody.
I think that, I don't know. I think as long as he didn't bet against his own team.
That's the thing. You don't know, though.
But you
and
don't
know. My fear is he did. Now, had he only done it as a player, because my point was, as a player, I didn't know he did it as a manager at first. He went out and he played every game with 110%. And I would have said, you know what? If he wants to bet on himself, that's fine. He's giving it all anyway. And there was not one game people ever said, well, he didn't hustle there. His nickname was Johnny Hustle.
Right.
So, but as a manager, I just think that really.
And see, that's the thing. I don't care if he bet on his team to win because you should. You should expect your team to win. If he's betting on his team. But now, as a fan, going into games that, okay, this team's gonna beat us.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know what to think. And I'm not even a huge proponent of steroids anymore. I think so many people take them that they don't really help that much. What the hell? So Alex Rodriguez can hit the ball really hard. You know what? And he lifts weights a lot too. I don't know. I don't see steroids as big as a problem.
As everyone else does, or as opposed to gambling?
As everyone else does. I don't see either. Apparently, I'm just a dirty person because I don't really see either one of them as that big of an issue.
You should be banned from the Baseball Hall of Fame from even entering it, I think. But, no, I don't know. I think steroids, this is another one where I always thought that steroids should have been a little more tested in other sports. Like Sean Merriman, when he got caught for steroids, he should not only suspended for 4 games. That's not enough. Because when you look at it, and
that's 1/4 of the season.
And well, in baseball, they get suspended for 50 games. That's about
Which
a third.
Is a third.
Yeah. I just think there should be more because if you look at it in baseball, you can have the smallest player like David Eckstein. He can still hit a home run. Or you can have a guy like Barry Bonds, and he's jacked. Yeah, it's going to make a difference on some home runs, but for the most part, it's technique, not just brute strength.
Exactly. There's
Whereas
a lot
NFL,
more that goes into it than brute strength because you have to think of the contact and the hand-eye coordination.
It's the swing. There's so much more going into baseball. Whereas NFL, you get a guy bulking up on steroids, and he's going to do some damage to people. I think it's much more effective in football, which is why I always thought football should have a harder line on suspensions than baseball.
I mean, I'm all for banning drugs because drugs are illegal, but steroids aren't really illegal.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think that you either allow it all or you can't allow any of it. And the problem is it's going to take a little while to weed out what we have now. All right, so now to U.S. Open tennis. Like yesterday, Andy Roddick got bounced. That was kind of a surprise.
Dude, I haven't paid attention to the U.S. Open at all. Of course, I was in St. Louis like all weekend, and, you know, my schedule's been hectic. But I did see that my girlfriend, Maria Sharapova, got bounced as well.
That wasn't too much of a shock. I was kind of shocked that she was ranked. And this American girl,
she is a stud.
She's done well.
I hope,
at Wimbledon, she was doing damage too.
Yeah, I hope she does really well. What's the deal with Sharapova? She's hot. There's no doubt about that. And I love her commercials, and I love watching her play. But I only watch her play because she's hot.
Well, I mean, I like her play, but I have to mute the volume because that girl.
Oh
was
God,
so
her
loud.
yell is so annoying.
But I just think what her problem is that she peaked at about 17, 18, maybe 19. She won a Grand Slam, and then she just got hurt, and she's never really recovered.
Kornikova.
Well, at least she won something. Kornikova just never really got there.
Never really won anything. That seems to always happen, though. That seems to be a recurring theme. These tennis sensations start out really, and it happens with everybody. I mean, it happens with Michelle Wie in golf, and you can't really say LeBron, but
you can say it's mostly the women's tennis too. I mean, they come on the scene hot and they do something quick, and like some players like get burned out, like Martina Hingis, and just get on drugs and fall out, or they get hurt,
and then they're done. There's nothing.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous how much of tennis is a young woman's game, except for the players like Venus and Serena. There's every now and then there's a couple of those, but if you look at it, they're just such short-lived tennis players.
Well, and maybe Venus and Serena, they never got on the sex appeal track like all the other ones, and maybe that has something to do with it. I mean, they do their commercials now and everything like that, and but they never were really sex symbols or
they never got too burned out. Like when they want to take a break, Serena went and designed fashion, Venus went and did her own thing, and they came back when they wanted to. They've always taken it easy, which is, I thought, pretty cool for them.
Yeah, and I enjoy watching the Williams sisters, and I certainly wish them well. But it's just interesting to see these athletes who are on top of the world so fast, and then kerplunk, and whether it's due to substance abuse or whatever, but most of the time it's just they weren't really that good to begin with.
Yeah, they got lucky. They got in an easy situation with an easy draw. Someone ahead of them got bounced early, and they were able to get through. And
that's one of those things where one game, you can make a name for yourself. It doesn't take a season. It doesn't take winning a major. You can make a name for yourself by knocking off the number 1 seed because they have a crappy game or because you play really well.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that's one of the cool things about tennis sometimes, but it's also an unfortunate one because it does create too much hype for somebody and they just can't live up to it and they just burn out and collapse.
Hopefully that won't happen to us in our radio careers.
Yeah.
All right, parting words of wisdom. Let's see, the NFL season starts. Who you got? I know I hate doing picks. So I'm not going to do them. I'm just going to make you do them.
Who do I got for the Super Bowl? Is that what you're asking, or who I got this week?
Let's see. We got 30 seconds. Squeeze in both.
All right. Let's see. For the Super Bowl this year, I'm gonna be lame and pick the Steelers again.
Okay.
They're the strongest team in the NFL.
Okay.
And who plays this Thursday?
Steelers, and who do they play? The Titans?
Yeah. All right. I got to go Steelers on that one, too.
Yeah, you got to go Steelers.
I mean, Titans lost.
Put Vince Young in, and all bets are off.
Nah, even still, I just think Steelers are too strong. Titans lost too much.
All right, we're out of time, and you've wasted too much time listening to us. Thanks for tuning in. We'll put another show together real quick. Take care, everybody.